morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's truly an honor and privilege to welcome all of you for this Global Uran webinar series, the sixth series when we started for the year 2024-25 and now in 25-26. So once again, it gives me an immense pleasure to welcome all the participants, our esteemed speaker panelist, Bipin Sapraji, thank you so much for joining. The moderator, Shikha Bhagat, and we would be joined by Dr. Abhay Sinha, who's also one of the speakers today, very soon, who's the Director General of the Services Export Promotion Council. So, thank you so much, all of you, for joining. And the webinar series, as we said, has now been the sixth for the year. And today's topic, we talk about the FTAs unlocking global markets for Indian accounting and advisory services. So it's a joint initiative with the Development of International Trade, Services and WTO Directorate of ICI in collaboration with Services Export Promotion Council. So SCPC is the organization, a regulatory body which takes care of the Export Promotion Council, takes care of the FTAs. We have an MOU which is already signed since last 5 years, and I believe that is getting expired on 30th of June. And from 1st of July, it'll again be renewed and will be extended. So I think it's truly an honor and privilege to work jointly to do joint programs in collaboration with SCPC. So, like the important topic on unlocking global markets for Indian accounting and advisory services, as we know, friends, that the global landscape of services trade is rapidly evolving in India with its vast pool of skilled professionals, especially in the field of accounting, finance, advisory services. Now, FTA definitely serve as a powerful enabler for all of us, offering us an access to a new market, reducing barriers, and fostering the mutual recognition of qualification and standards. As you all know, now these exports of services have definitely have surpassed the numbers in financial year 387 billion, which was there in 2024. And the services from financials, auditing, consultancy takes care of almost 13.6%. So, and this growth is tremendous. So, you can imagine the global acceptability of Indian professionals in terms of accounting, in terms of finance, in terms of advisory services, which now Indian accountant are now being given. So India has a talent. We all professionals are working. A lot of opportunities now coming from global market. A lot of outsourcing work is being coming from all parts of the country, especially if I talk about US, the UK, Canada, Australia, and other parts of the world, where we have already started our certificate courses. A lot of response has been received by members in terms of US market certificate course. We've planned to start very soon the UK market certificate course on outsourcing services. And in line with UK market, we plan to do it for Australia. So work from the office, from the directorate with the team, making a lot of efforts, how we can reach out globally, how we can connect to global market and create opportunities for members, for our professionals. So, like the FTA, it really helps. What we need is a supportive framework. Now, these FTA can enable mutual recognition for our qualifications. It really help us to get quick visas, mobility restrictions, and create framework for cooperation in services. So it's not just a trade tool, but they are gateways to opportunities. And I think that is where our distinguished panel would be sharing their experiences. Of course, Dr. Abhay Sinha joining us shortly, and Bipin Sapre. Thank you so much once again for joining. And I'm sure with your intense knowledge, the members attending, the participants would truly be benefited and would certainly know the initiative which taken from SCPC, how we can become a member of SCPC, what opportunities we have in the global market through various FTA agreements which we have done. And this global webinar series, the Global Udan series, certainly help members to know the opportunities and definitely over and above. Like we have almost now 4 lakh chartered accountants, 9 lakh 85,000 students who are professionals will become professionals who are future chartered accountants. So a lot of members and students now are looking at global market. So these webinars, these insightful discussions, the experience of the panelist certainly helps the participants to know what are the opportunities for Indian professionals in accounting, finance, and other advisory services globally. We definitely now getting soon into again an agreement. We are renewing a lot of new areas we're looking at for opportunities, and I'm sure members would definitely get maximum benefit with the discussions, the deliberations we'll have today. And again, Shikha, thank you so much. You've been a speaker, but agreed to be in a moderator today with your uh, experience. Definitely add to the I would say to the understanding of things what we get from Abhay Sinha and Bipin Sapre. So once again, I welcome all the participants. Thank you so much for joining at 11 in the morning. This 2 hours of deliberation discussions would certainly help the participants to know the insight, the understanding of FTAs, why we get into a free trade agreements, what are the opportunities available, and certainly I would say that we have a residential program which we have planned on 30th, 31st, and 1st of June. So 30th May and 31st May and 1st of June at Jaipur. We have an RRC which we have planned specifically for US market experts who have done the certificate course. We'll have an interaction with industry experts. We'll bring them to at one place. We'll have panel discussions and a lot of learning hands-on training will be done for these participants who will be attending on 30th, 31st, and 1st of June. So I would request participants, those who have done US market course, please register and get maximum benefit. So thank you once again, all of you, all the participants for joining. And thanks to Bipin Sapreji and Abhay Sinhaji who will be joining us shortly and Shikha for moderating the sessions. Once again, welcome all of you. Over to you. Thank you. Shikha, am I audible? You can begin the session.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we have Dr. Abhay Sinha also have joined. So good morning, Abhijit. So maybe he'll be joining us shortly. Please, you can begin.
Sure.
Shikha, Shikha, am I audible? Any network issue, Gunjan from Shikha's end?
Yes, sir. I have a network issue. I'll be just joining in 1 minute.
All right, no problem.
Good morning, esteemed participants. It is my sheer honor to moderate this session with such a topic that is so upcoming and as a person who's from this field, I feel very privileged to introduce our first speaker for the day, who is Mr. Bipin Sapra. He's a partner in Indian indirect tax practices and he leads policy practice nationally. He has a very vast experience as an IRS from his early erstwhile experiences, and therefore we must appreciate the fact that we have such a learned faculty amongst us with such a vast professional experience who's going to address us today. I will not take much of the time, and of course, I would want Sir to give us a lot of diversified details of this field very soon. Sir, over to you.
Thank you, Shikha. Always a pleasure to be speaking at ICI. Today, I represent SEPC. Um, as Shikha said, we have been uh, at EY. We are doing a lot at on the policy side and working with Dr. Sinha and in SEPC to understand the impact of the FTAs. Uh, uh, to understand the impact of just give me a second. Yeah, yeah. Shika, I hope my content is visible to you, everybody.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Uh, It's the topic of today's discussion is very interesting and very exciting, given that the services sector in India is growing tremendously, and the professionals who are there, especially on the accounting and auditing side, the chartered accountants, they were always doing great work within India and outside, but given the understanding by the government to that there is a lot from this sector which can be part of the service exports. I think in the past few FTAs, there has been a trend of discussion of these points very specifically. Uh, yeah. Uh, From a perspective of, so today what we are going to do is understand some nuances in terms of where the service exports stand today, how the services are being exported, what is the trend which we are seeing, and what the government is doing to boost service exports from India. Then specifically look at how the trade agreements between the India's accounting and advisory services are really helping this sector. And then we look forward as to what else does the government need to do, and what potential does the government sees in this sector. So very quickly coming to, so this is a crowded slide, but let me try to decipher this for you. Worldwide service exports were valued at roughly $8 trillion in 2023, and there was an annual growth which was generally happening from of 8% from 2022 to 23. See, given that the COVID years were just before that, any trend from that side would not do justice to the exact growth which we should be seeing in this sector. Uh, the In 2023, the services imports saw their again fastest annual increase in Asia and Europe. So, uh, Asia and Europe, and specifically Asia, there has been a great growth in terms of the services imports. Europe and US were always importers of services, but we have seen that the rest of Asia, there has been a high import of services. So, there is the projections which are there today that there will be a 5.1% growth in 2025, which will be roughly similar to 4.6% in 2026, given the base gets increased. That's a very heartening sign for the entire service industry, and that will be the basis on which we'll be working towards whatever we are asking the government today and in the past, which we have asked. India is among the top 10 leading exporters of services. In 2024, we were 374 billion USD, uh, uh, like which was accounting for the 4 point, and the accounting services was 4.3% of the total service exports. That's how it was. But the 374 billion is the total export from India. And we'll talk about that in greater detail. So, if you really see the other business services category, and which includes accounting, auditing, bookkeeping, and there are other miscellaneous services also. That accounted, it was the topmost traded service category. It's almost close to 2,000 billion dollars, which is roughly $2 trillion out there. So this is worldwide numbers, and those are huge numbers. Uh, the global market size for accounting services was 652 billion USD in 2023, grew by roughly around 3.7% to 800, is expected to grow with a CAGR of 3.7% to an 800 billion USD by 2028. So that's something which is very heartening, and those are numbers which are there. Uh, the export potential which we see, and these are numbers, you will see very different numbers, because whatever is available in public domain, we have tried to pull out and make it meaningful for you. Has There has been an increasing trend in the past few years for the other business service categories, which is also a representative of the accounting and auditing and bookkeeping services, which today we are concerned about, or which we are interested in to talk to. So that's been the trend in the last 1 year. Okay, so where does India stand in terms of the service exports? So the service exports have grown with a CAGR of 17.1% since 2020-21, which is huge. And today we stand at 387.5 billion USD, and which is roughly 47.2% of the total export share, which again is huge, which means that our dependency on goods export, which has been the traditional form of export, is there, like both of them are at equal. So services exports, which haven't been talked about as often, or services trade, which hasn't been talked about as often, either in FTAs or in general parlance, needs to be looked at. We have been incentivizing goods export much more, and they might there can be reasons for that, given that manufacturing has to be self-reliant in any country, and that's what we have been trying to do, push Make in India, so that we can export from India generally. But services export is something which the country is should look at. And we are looking at $1 trillion USD. That's the aim of the government, that that should be the service export by 2030. Now, if we look at the export of the other business services, which includes bookkeeping and accounting and consulting services, the trend has been on the rise. And since 2017, we have a CAGR of 15% of approximately. So that's very heartening. So just to sum it up, from a for the other business services sector, of basically the sector which we are interested in, which is accounting. What is the strength in this sector? Is the abundance of graduates in finance and commerce. We know that significant numbers of CAs and other management professionals. English proficiency, it's one of the best, which we can see. Uh, the number of global certifications which our CAs have, which our people have, is very high. And the cost advantage for providing services from here is also tremendous. Plus, automation and technology penetration is very, very high. So, overall, a very rosy picture for this sector, overall service sector in this sector, from a potential of export. That was the first part of the area which we wanted to talk about today. Uh, Now, our interest lies in the fact that how can we talk in terms, how can we boost service exports from India, and especially in the accounting and advisory sector. Now, ICA already has been doing phenomenal work out there. Most of you would be aware of this. And a number of MOUs, MRAs, which are mutual recognition agreements, have been signed with several countries for qualification reciprocity. And these MRAs, they establish the framework by which the Indian CAs can apply for the recognition in other countries, and similarly, the other countries' CAs can apply for recognition here in India. Given that today we are only going to talk about what all are the possibilities for Indian CAs. Just to name a few of the countries where MRAs have been signed, this includes the MRA between India and Nepal. It's been signed a long time back. It's valid till 2025. Provides basis for admission of qualified member in neither institutes. That's how the MRAs work. Um, so ICAI and ICANN membership, they need to pass some exams in one. So ICAI is the Indian CA exams. They have to pass a few exams in laws and taxation to be eligible to uh, work in Nepal and be equivalent to an ICANN, which is the Nepalese CA qualification. Similarly, MRA between India and Australia allowed for there are also certain requirements were there. Members needed to have at least 3 years accounting experience and a pass of the few of the MICPA's exams comprising of taxation, business, and company laws. Um, Similarly, the agreements between Australia and New Zealand. So the agreement was signed in 2021 for the period of 3 years. Uh, Minimum 3 to 5 years post membership experience. So all of these MRAs, they lay down conditions which need to be followed, and they just wanted to show that MRAs have been there. They are there for a certain period of time, and all of these come up with on the basis of agreements which have been reached in um, either foreign trade agreements or through a mutual agreement between the institutes or the governing bodies of the of these services. So similarly, India has MOUs or MRAs with England and Wales, Canada, Ireland, among others. So that it is there. There is, and each of these are different MRAs which exist. So even before the FTAs, MRAs have been existing. They exist for a certain period of time, get renewed in most of the times, and accordingly, RCAs can go and work there. But we need to do better. And uh, the foreign trade agreements which are being signed in the last 2 to 3 years, we have seen a flurry of FTAs being negotiated, signed, and agreed to. And accordingly, we uh, we cannot these are great opportunities to for providing the basis for these agreements for providing uh, how these services and can be exported. And we have picked up few of the FTAs where either the negotiations have happened or are happening, or those FTAs got closed long time back, and how they have helped in growth of accounting and advisory services in those countries. So if we look at the India-Australia FTA, India and Australia have a free trade agreement. It's an ECTA, and you'll find each agreement is different in itself. Like what we are trying to sign with US today is a business trade agreement, a BTA. Then there are economic agreements which where it would be an EEPA, ECPA. So a lot of different types of agreement. While these names have some meaning, ultimately, except in a BTA, which is generally related to trade and mostly related to trade in goods, the trade in services also comes in. Uh, the other agreements tend to be uh, much more encompassing, having economic where they talk about investments in both the countries, how can it be done, and a much more broader concept of economic cooperation as compared to a BTA or even in even some other agreements. But Australian Indian Cooperation Agreement is it was implemented in 22. There were various phases. There was early harvest, and then the final thing got shared. What exactly are the provisions out there? There is a provision on qualification recognition for accounting and advisory services. It's these FTAs are basically what do you call the umbrella, or basically guidelines on the basis which an MRA would actually get signed. So the fact that this has been acknowledged in an FTA means that this will definitely get signed. These are guide rails on the basis of which actual agreement between ICAI and the Australian counterpart would get signed. So encourage the development of systems for the recognition of professional qualifications and experience, registration and licensing of professionals, including through mutual recognition or similar arrangements to better facilitate trade in professional services. So that's the first mandate, and that's see the like we want to be there. India is also a huge market, and other countries, people also want to come to India in terms of very specific needs. And these needs are changing over the period of time. Apart from the traditional accounting and auditing services which we see. Knowledge sharing, there is the agreement, the foreign trade agreement carries a clause on that there would be an effort to facilitate the sharing of knowledge and expertise on professional services, accreditation, standards, and regulation. So, a broader understanding between the two bodies. Then skills cooperation, enhance cooperation on skills development and mutual recognition of professional qualifications. And finally, ease of movement, which is very critical in terms of temporary entry and temporary straight commitments up to 4 years. So these are professional visas which can be given for intra-corporate transferees, contractual service suppliers, and independent executives. So this is basically the four things combined: the qualification recognition, knowledge sharing, skills cooperation, and then finally the ease of movement. These are what we would want normally from a FTA or an agreement between the two countries to facilitate export of the professional services we are talking about. And here, in terms of accounting and auditing services, this lays down the foundation for the export of these services. What are the opportunities for Indian professionals? Again, all those four only. So if I really put it down in two words, that the qualifications get recognized, an Indian CA should be able to get an Australian um, CPA or whatever the professional certification is in Australia, and be able to move there, live there, and provide services for a given period of time. That's the basic framework behind which would really help the export of these services. I don't think we have a facility of taking in questions, but please put in your questions on the chat box. I'll try to see if I can pick in something in between, but otherwise I'll pick it up at the end. Now, the India-Singapore SICA, the Comprehensive Economic Cooperation Agreement, has been in vogue for a long time, much before the um, um, uh, my view would be, I think it would be there closer to a 10-year period as compared to it hasn't been signed very recently. Um, Now, what are the provisions relating to accounting and advisory services there? Market access. The agreement places no restrictions on cross-border trading of services related to accounting, auditing, bookkeeping, and taxation. Professionals are permitted to freely supply, consume, or provide such services. So, if you are providing a memo from here to there, that's you can go there, seek a visa. That will be perfectly possible. So, market access is a much wider term which we use for movement and ability to perform services there. There's a long-term temporary entry permit, um, and that's where they've said that each country may allow professionals from other country to stay temporarily for up to 1 year on the length of their contract to carry out business or professional training activities, including seminars. So both long term, which is there, and short term, which could be as long as 2 months, but extendable by 1 month. So 2 to 3 months, if you're going, they might be they would permit you a short term temporary entry. Um, uh, Social security exemption from paying social security, because generally people who go there, social security, the concept remains that it will be paid back to you when you have been after certain years of service or living in a particular country. And somebody who's going there for a couple of years only wouldn't want to pay social security. So professionals from either country who are temporarily working in other country may not have to pay any into that country's social security system. Uh, and finally, facilitated movement. Neither country will require labor market tests, economic need assessments. So there are barriers which can be created using labor market tests, economic need assessments. That only if there is a need, then only we'll let the country come in. And these are at time and again put up by various countries, and especially for a small country like Singapore. Um, there are a large number of restrictions in terms of visa and others, uh, given that already a lot of Indian professionals do work there. So uh, that's the India-Singapore agreement, and my effort here is to that while the agreements would are similar, you'll get a flavor as to what exactly exists and what can be used by ICAI to create broader laws with the governing bodies of Singapore. The agreements of UAE and UK, the bilateral trade agreements, was signed very recently. Recently means that in the last 2 to 3 years. UK is just been negotiated, still in the finalization stage. It's finalized, it's been accepted, but the terms and exact details are not out in the public domain. We have some information, some knowledge, but we are still looking for more details, which would come out once this gets passed or is in the domain of getting it passed from in the both in the UK Parliament and in India. Uh, that's what it is. In terms of the UAE's commercial presence terms, it allows professionals to own foreign equity up to 75% in each other's jurisdiction. After 10 years from the entry into the force of this agreement, foreign equity be allowed up to 100%, boosting FDI investments. I'll have to check when that 10 years happens. But since UAE has introduced various tax laws, and not only UAE, but other countries in the Middle East, but UAE has been one. We have seen a lot of our professionals move up, set shop there, and be very successful in that area. So, given that 100% FDIs would become the norm, that will be a really great help for further movement from India to UAE. In terms of India to India UK FTA, which has recently been negotiated and is in the process of getting finalized, there is an ambitious commitment to enhance the mobility of professionals and services, uh, particularly in the IT, financial services, and professional sectors. There is going to be a competitive edge in the UK market, which the Indians would get, Indian professionals. The specific provisions which are there in terms of uh, so mobility, the agreement, this will facilitate mobility of professionals to UK, including contractual service providers, independent professionals, and so these categories will get included in as business visitors, investors into a corporate transfer. So all of that will, so those are how this contract, the agreement will get executed in terms of practical on the ground scenarios. Effectively, uh, facilitated visas would be available for professionals in this sector. And an exemption from social security is something which the UK government has agreed under this FTA. So that's again a big thing, because people who go there, and social security, especially in UK, Europe, and US, is quite well developed as compared to other Asian countries. So that is a big hit in normal course if social security has to be paid. So there, that exemption is a big uh, help for the government, big help for the professionals. We also have an FTA with Mauritius, and while it's a generic agreement in terms of like we have with a lot of other companies, uh, there is a mutual recognition in professional services, including chartered accountants. There is facilitated movements. There is no need for that. There would be a need for labor market testing and economic needs testing for the entry of these professionals. And obviously, expeditious application procedures exist. So, multiple entry visas will be granted when and all of this has been laid down in that agreement, which was signed in March 2024. Um, uh, so this is not the so this is the um this would be the part of this is not been like this is in the process of getting the final nod, but this is part of the proposals which are there in the Indian European Free Trade uh, the TIPA, which has been in the process of getting signed. And the Comprehensive Economic Cooperation and Partnership Agreement with Mauritius allows for the commercial presence, accounting, auditing, and bookkeeping firms from India or Mauritius to establish a commercial presence in other countries. So broadly, we're just trying to give you a flavor of how these uh, 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 how these yeah agreements have been signed, and some features of this agreement, and how they can be looked at. And I think what we're trying to do is look at countries uh, and look at, and these are only indicative list of countries. We just picked up from which are normally good jurisdictions, sought after jurisdictions by Indian professionals to relocate. In Germany, a 2023 survey of around 9,000 companies found that 43.1% of firms reported shortage of qualified workers. In legal and accounting services, this number was 75%. So huge potential for the uh, Indian chartered accountants and legal professionals for that place. Um, Another report revealed that open financial and accounting roles have surged by 150% in the past year alone, which is 24-25. So what we are saying is that Germany, there is a huge potential in Germany. Uh, Similarly, in Canada, um, initially, so in 2025, and Canada has gone through a whole journey where it opened up its borders for the Indian professionals in a very liberal way. A lot of professionals did relocate or set up shop there after taking in the local CPAs. And uh, later on, in the last 1 year or so, we saw that there was a restriction being placed on the number of visas which could be taken. But a 2025 report mentioned that there is a limited supply of candidates in finance and accounting, leading to 93% hiring of managers facing the challenges. Uh, a significant number of accounting professionals in the country are nearing retirement age in Canada. So we are hopeful with the coming of the new government in Canada, there would be greater traction and openness for Indian professionals there, and another opportunity to for the on a mutual beneficial basis between India and Canada. Uh, Again, in Singapore, there is a need for professional accounting services, and we have picked up from various blogs, various internet uh, 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 inputs where on the basis of which to get an estimate as to how what is the potential which Singapore has, and there is an expectation of 6,000 to 7,000 professionals by 2025. This coupled with whatever SICA offers, the that agreement already in place offers, I think Singapore would again be a great place for Indian professionals. In USA, uh, as per data, there was a 32% drop in number of candidates registered with AICPA, which is the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants. However, uh, I'm quite certain that US is short of large number of accountants. 340,000 is what is being said, but over there, and it's a the even accountings have there is a standard accounting procedures, but from a tax perspective also, especially on the indirect taxes, they're very different set of rules in sales tax, sales and use tax, and hence a great need of accountants and other professionals there for the compliances and other things. So that's a general overview in terms of where the accounting and advisory services potential exists. Uh, Moving to what are we looking for? And we still have a lot of FTAs being signed. There will be some FTAs which are very visible, like the India EU FTA, which is due to be signed very recently, and we may see that in the next couple of months. India UK has been negotiated and finalized. India, UK, US BTA is in the pipeline, and we are hoping that by this fall we should have uh, agreement in place. Similarly, there are smaller agreements which are happening with Chile, with Peru, with a lot of other countries, which have great potential and for services export. Goods is something which is there, but those are markets which are not developed from a service exports perspective, and there are great opportunities which should be looked into. Uh, what are the main asks which should be included in our main asks should be, are there that ease of mobility through temporary and long-term work arrangements for independent professionals and corporate transferees. Because unless and until people are able to provide services by going there, because these professional services do require movement from one country to another. And so the ease of mobility makes all the difference. If there are going to be visa delays, or if the visa has to be taken again and again, then so long-term visas, if they can be granted, that's our main ask. Um, National treatment for all services and service suppliers. It should be considered that these are critical services, and they have to have a. It should not be that a regional area within that country has one treatment, and the other part of the country has a different treatment. So we want that the country should take decisions overall. Inclusion of double contribution convention for social security payments, that uh, the social security payments in both the countries would be exempted. So India would be exempted. We do not have, wherever we have social security requirement, that they would be exempted. But most of the other countries have strong social security laws, and hence we need to have a exemption from payment of social security by the visiting professionals or relocating professionals. Then there is recognition of qualification with flexible bridging pathways. So qualification, uh, there should be a recognition that a CA from India would be recognized there pursuant to a certain, there would be bridging pathways, which are the MRAs, which would lay down the conditions as to what should be followed. Then allowing 100% FDIs. So Indian CA firm should be able to set up its own branch out there, or a subsidiary, whatever is the way it is permitted in that country, and hence should not be dependent on getting a partnership with somebody else out there. Finally, sector-specific bilateral agreements can be focused upon to allow more targeted negotiations on specific issues faced by the sector. So, banking and financial services would have much different requirements as compared to um, maybe a e-commerce sector or the telecom sector, and hence they need to have maybe more focused bilateral agreements which are sector specific. Uh, so those are the main asks, but there are additional asks which include the development of future-ready curriculum, which can be included in include courses on advanced technologies and evolving areas like ESG reporting, which is getting very critical, especially with the CBAM, which is being implemented by US. So Indian companies who are exporting goods to Europe, they need to have much more stronger reporting mechanisms, and the carbon credit and other environmental requirements which will come in, or are there for other countries. They require uh, stringent. So there needs to be a future-ready curriculum for that. Forensic accounting, artificial intelligence, machine learning. All of these should be to equip the members with future-ready skills. development of a standardized and streamlined framework for future MRAs to be negotiated. We should have a clarity and there should be uniformness as to what courses should be done in India and what courses, minimum courses which can be done by professionals from India, which would let them work in those countries. So that we can talk in terms of that should be negotiated. Uh, then there should be the time taken by an MRA or MOU development should be faster. And given that a lot of countries, as we have shown, face shortages of accounting and advisory professionals. And finally, some sort of financial support to Indian accounting firms in obtaining relevant international accreditation. That is something in brief. Uh, I'll stop here. I'll hand this back to you, Shikha. How would you want to do with this?
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Your session was really very insightful and thought-provoking. If I have to summarize, I mean, I really enjoyed and learned a lot of things from your session. If I have to highlight, I really understood that how we are shifting from traditional export of goods to export of services. I also understood how many countries India already has existing MOUs and MRAs with these countries, and the emphasis about or the emphasis within these MRA and MOU is qualification reciprocity, because yes, we have been recognized globally, but in many different ways. So a global recognition is something that India is looking at. You also helped us understand how Nepal, Australia, New Zealand, India, and Malaysia have a lot of existing MRAs in picture. Apart from this, you also showed us way forward as to India and EU FTA, then India and USA bilateral trade agreement. So the crux of it all, mobility of professionals is something that we are looking at when we talk about MRAs, FTAs, or MOUs. It was really a very nice session. Your perspective brought immense value to this conversation, and I hope Abhay sir will take forward, give us more in-depth knowledge about the topic, and what are challenges are we facing as far as SPEC is concerned in leveraging FTAs. So I'm awaiting his presence as well.
I think Dr. Abhay is there. Dr. Abhay, you are there? Shikha, Dr. Abhay is facing some network problems. He's just joining back, though he appears there on the screen. He's just joining back. We don't have too many questions out here. I can't see any on the chat. Otherwise, I would have picked up them while we wait for Dr. Abhay. Um,
Yes, sir. I can pose a few if you are fine with it. So I have few questions in our group as well. We wanted to know, are there any second best approaches to MRA that India can foresee to obtain a similar benefit for our professionals?
Yeah, I what I have seen for in a lot of countries, maybe I don't know whether that's possible for India, that for the given period of time, and MRAs, uh, I think there whatever has been agreed in an MRA for a certain period of time, After that, I think there should be a dilution. And if those people who have already got a CPA degree from India, a CPA and a CA, if they can mentor or certain conditions are put forward for automatic acceptance as a CPA for those people, then it's something like train the trainers. Once a CPA, a CA and a CPA is can then be used for further training of our Indian CAs, then automatic membership can be thought of. So I think, and I think ICAI has a wonderful strength out there in terms of ideas. They can be done. But there are a lot of good case studies, use cases, which we can pull out from other
Correct.
countries. And that will be a good work to do so that we can help. But that's an interesting question.
We have one more question in the group. It says, can Indian mid-sized CA firms realistically compete globally, or is this benefit only for Big Four? So these agreements will only help Big Fours, or you think even mid-cap firms, CA firms can, compete globally?
I UAE is a great example. You see, it's the most of the mid-sized firms are there in UAE. I think similarly with other countries, these MRAs are mainly for professional and mid-sized firms to get the benefit of. The big four are already existing. They have a network. I don't think they are going to. It's my understanding. The professionals can already relocate and do a lot of that. But mid-sized firms will greatly help benefit from this. Can you hear us, Abhay?
Just a moment. I'm trying to reconnect my audio. There is some issue. Am I audible?
You are, but it's patchy.
There is like, yeah, can you hear?
Shika,
Let me see my video.
Yes, sir.
yeah, I think if
So
you
when
stop
I'm
your
switching a
video,
video, my sound also goes away.
much better, I think.
Just a moment. Okay. There is some issue. I don't know why this. In fact, it was good. Reconnect.
Can't hear you, Dr. Abhay. So, Shika, while we wait for Dr. Abhay, I again come back and answer that I have uh, strong conviction that the MRAs will benefit and they should benefit the mid-sized firms because that's what the aim of those MRAs is, and FTAs also. Uh, and the greater number of people are being served by uh, the mid-sized firms.
Yes, sir. There are still more questions. Do you
Yeah,
think,
let's do it.
can you throw light on different softwares that are used in overseas accounting?
Oh, there are a large number of accounting softwares, and there are accounting bodies. So, like what we see in India, some of those are there outside also. But there are dedicated firms like Vertex and others who do a lot of accounting. So I may not, because I haven't used them, I won't be able to know that. But in my travels to US, I've traveled extensively to US, and I've seen a lot of mid-sized firms out there, and they use tax and accounting softwares very effectively. Because even the smaller taxpayers, they use those softwares, and the professionals also use softwares by Intuit and others who are there for their purpose. But it's easily available on the net, so that shouldn't be a problem.
Yes, sir. Do you think there are any perception gaps in standards that are laid down by ICAI and other similar institutes abroad?
So each of those, and again, I'm not an expert, but in this line, but I've done accountancy courses in India. I've done in US. I've done in a couple of other places, but like one or two courses. So the standards are different, but it's not so difficult that you can't pick up courses from one to another. If I could do that, I think most of the other qualified CAs could do it. So, and Indians are the brightest, so there's no doubt about it.
We can still wait for sir.
Yeah, I see. I think one thing is certain. Uh, the government in itself is very focused towards service exports. SCPC has been mandated under Dr. Abhay Sinha. It's really taking it to a different level. Um, Within SCPC, I lead the professional services vertical and within the governing council. And ICI itself, I think it's a very focused body for helping CAs out there from for going going out for finding more avenues of providing the services. So I think it's my understanding that all the FTAs would have some clauses or the other. What we can think of, and there can be more deliberations within ICAI, and we'll be happy to help, is that what else can the government ask other governments apart from whatever it has been asking, very specifically for the accounting fraternity, which will really help the accounting firms. I can talk to Dr. Abhay once and see if we should continue this or with
Sure, sir.
whether he'll be able to join. Shika, I think he has he'll not be able to join any further. He's dropped a message on the group also. He says that the place where he is, and he had at least tested all of that, but he's no longer able to connect. So, if there are any other questions, we can take them. Otherwise, or anything else you want.
Yes, sir. I have one more relevant question. So
Yeah.
you have been to USA so many times. We have a speaker who's asking, how do we penetrate the USA market for providing services?
Oh, so I actually hold a degree in a doctorate in accounting and taxation from US
Okay.
University of Florida. I recently did that. I think CPA there is it's a small. There are requirements, but once you do a CPA there, you will be qualified to provide services out there. And let me tell you that there is a huge need from indirect tax professionals, direct tax professionals from mid-tier firms, because the large ones would be with Big Four, but there's a huge potential out there from an beyond what can be done using softwares. So tax planning and opportunity for other services would be hugely there. Uh, Even in terms of other laws apart from taxes, my course went, so I keep on turning to tax uh, because I've seen that. But uh, even for professionals to go out and teach there, huge demand at various levels for training purposes and others. So but you'll have to have the CPA degree out there. After that, I think accounting professionals are in a dearth there. That's the area. And unlike in India, there the universities do give out degrees for Bachelor of Accounting, uh, masters in accounting, or masters. There is Bachelor of Taxation also, masters in taxation. I did a doctorate, so I have seen the entire gamut of those courses being provided. You pick up any course and you will be eligible to provide services there from a perspective. But and of course, CPA would really make it very easy for you to do out there. I don't know whether that helps, but happy
Yes,
anytime.
sir. I'm sure that does. Sir, we have some more questions as to what are couple of initial steps that a new practicing CA can take to provide services outside India?
See, the first thing is you have to have a market out there. Market, like if you want to provide services sitting out here, uh, what you can do is generic services which would help those clients. So a lot of clients which are overseas have interests in India, and that's the first area which you should be looking at to serve them. It's only after that, and then you should look at laws which are much more generic, which do not require professional insights into a particular area, and have accounting codes which are exactly same as in India. And there will be a large number of uh, services like that. And finally, if you want to you want to move to those locations and provide services by setting up shop there, or getting into a professional arrangement there, then you'll have to pick up a degree from degree or a certification. Sorry, degree is not required. CPA would definitely be required.
Sir, is there any structured platform where we meet CPA firms and we can collaborate, if you have any idea?
No, um, that's a great idea. I think if yeah, so but they would be available. I don't know of a platform where these exist. But then again, this is
Correct.
a business opportunity for the people. So
Very true.
yeah,
Sir, do you have any idea how many years does it take to complete CPA in USA?
depends upon yourself. You don't see, if you are the CA, you have the basic knowledge. I've
Correct.
seen people go there for 45 days and get a CPA degree. There are courses
Okay.
which you can take, and there are certain waivers you get on the basis of what you have done already in India. I would suggest please go over to the CPA website of US. Everything is listed down, and what the Indian CA needs to do. Because there are a lot of people applying there. So normally it may take 6 to 9 months, but less than a year. But if you and most of it you can do it from here, sitting down, reading courses, and doing all that. And finally, I think the exams are, you'll have to go for a month or so and get it over with.
Correct. So how do we know that we have a market in USA or not?
There is a
So you
market.
said, correct. You said that we must first know that whether we have a market, so that we can approach abroad. So there are people who are asking, how do we come to know that there is a market in USA?
I think internet is a great connecting place. I'll tell you, it's not only the Big Four who outsource their services to the India. Most of the Big Four have Indian service centers where this is where the work from outside is being outsourced here. But smaller firms also want to outsource their work, and they would be very happy. So if you really do a Google, come up with the firms, and even cold calling, writing emails, most of them would be very interested
Correct.
in saying that, okay, this is a tedious path. If I can save cost by this much, uh, then we can shift that. And I think you'll have to brush up your knowledge of those accounting laws and other things. And the CPA can be the front-ending person out there who's there. But apart from internet, I can't think of. There are workshops there which happen, or seminars there happen. You'll have to track them. There's an American Accounting Association website, AAA.
Correct. Mm.
They have, you can become a member of that. There's no problem in there. You'll find not only career opportunities, but also opportunities for connecting. They have workshops very regularly. I have been to a couple of them, and that will be a very good opportunity to network and talk and find people who are registered there.
Correct. Thank you, sir. I mean, it was really very nice talking to you, hearing you, and of course, learning from you. Your perspective has been very broad and very USA specific, I must say. Plus, I'm sure our audience has gained a lot of knowledge. They posed a lot of questions in the group, and all of them were pertaining to USA. You know, hearing you that you've been there for such a long time, and plus, you hold a doctorate from there. It was really nice having you for the session. I think we are winding up early since we do not have Abhay sir with us. So we are winding up for the day. Thank you so much.
Pleasure. It was really nice speaking to you, and thank you for having me here.